so much for joining me today. I am so delighted to have you. This channel, I speak about a lot of things. I work in the self-development industry, so I focus on psychology, psychotherapy, and a lot of inner healing. So in this video, I would like to speak about patterns, which is one of the most important topics that many of my clients are in demand of. So with patterns, these are patterns that you know. I also know them. It's those situations where you find yourself experiencing the same reality, reliving the same experiences over and over again, regardless of how old you are, regardless of where you go, regardless of who you meet, you still find yourself reliving the same experiences. So, what is that? We need to look into that and actually analyze and critically think about what's really going on so that we can derive the lesson that we need to derive from that phenomenon. As you know, the greatest school that you'll ever attend is not Harvard, it's not Yale, it's not that institution that you dream about every day. Nope. The greatest school is actually the school of life. So life has this tremendously impactful way of teaching us so many lessons, but the problem is that our paradigms, the way we've been conditioned, makes us value certain ways of learning above others, and we assume that maybe like piling a lot of textbook information is what's going to help us move forward in life. But actually, that's good. Textbook information definitely does play its role in helping us succeed, but ultimately, when we do not understand other variables that are at play, then it makes it difficult for us to go over that wall that you often find yourself in, right? You study, you go to university, you've got multiple degrees, you've got a PhD, but still you find yourself with a below average salary, income for someone that is in your field, or you find yourself still struggling with poverty, you find yourself still struggling with the same issues, then clearly it's not a question of having or not having knowledge, but it's a question of what's really going on, which is something that we're going to analyze in today's video. So let's speak about patterns. So I want you, this is going to be a very reflective video, so I will be asking a lot of questions. I do hope that you can really take it seriously because it's a lot of content that is extremely helpful. It might sound simple to another person, but actually simplicity is the key to a lot of excellence. So, okay, let's get started. So, first of all, let's start with self-introspection. Yeah. So, first of all, what are the good patterns that you've noticed in your life so far? So, what are the recurring things that you keep seeing happening over and over again? Maybe it's in your relationships, or it's in your social life, or it's the same thing, or it's your health, your family life, your relationship with God, whatever it is. What are the recurring patterns that are really good and working well for you? So, I need you to note that down. And then the next thing, we need to analyze what are the unpleasant patterns that you have been noticing in your life. So what's been happening ever since you were young that's still happening now? Maybe people treated you the same way when you were young and they still treat you the same way now. So in that situation, it wouldn't be wise to just think that, oh, people are the problem. Oftentimes when we are struggling, we look outwardly. It's very easy to blame society. It's very easy to blame the other person. It's very easy to blame our parents and many other external factors. But being in that mode actually can be very, very dangerous because it does not allow you to see where the problem really is. And when we do not allow ourselves to see where the problem is, then we are a prisoner of that whole phenomenon, meaning that you are stuck in the same situation and you will keep attracting the same situation over and over and over again. I'll give you an example of something that many of my clients are raised to me about. So if it is someone that grew up as a codependent, which is someone that derives their value from other people, so they don't have a strong sense of self or self-worth on their own, so they depend on other people to emotionally regulate them, other people to feel good about themselves. So if the other person doesn't like do certain things that the codependent person wants, then the codependent person is going to assume that, oh, there's something wrong with me, I'm not worthy, and then their self-esteem just crashes little by little. So literally, it's a very, very draining life to live, whereby you rely on other people to define your worth. Everything that someone does has a bearing on your identity, your worth. That is exhausting. But it's a real problem that a lot of us as people experience, right? So when we do not face that, when you don't face that problem, you would end up always wishing for, okay, in the case of romantic partners, you'd always end up wishing for, oh, I wish there was someone who could just like affirm me all the time, like tell me I love you all the time, this and that. So you'd always be wishing for someone to just reassure you all the time. And when we come forth into relationships with that energy, it is automatically repelling to the other person, because it's a lot of responsibility to place in another human being to affirm your worth all the time. And it's like, oh, that's when you energetically become someone that is chasing the other person whilst the other person is running away from you, because they can see that you want from them what they can't give you. So when it comes to self-worth, validation, and things like that, the real person that can give you the real self-worth and validation, besides God, of course, it's actually yourself. So when we try to get that from other people, it's like we're playing ourselves, and life is a way of punishing us for doing that. I don't know if punishing is the right word, but life is a way of showing us that you're doing it wrong. Like, don't do that. Why are you looking for this outside? Why can't you give it to yourself? Why can't you do the work of being able to derive that out of yourself, being able to find your truth and settle in that truth? So, I know I've mentioned a lot of things, so let's break it down. We'll break it down. So I'll just go with the example of codependency, because a lot of my clients really love books about codependency. Um, yeah. So with codependency, it is, yeah, it's hectic. The whole term actually came from a situation whereby maybe you have an alcoholic parent, and they depend on you to help them, navigate their way once they're drunk and they're out of their senses and things like that. And you can't leave them because you also depend on them for survival as a child. So as a result, you end up having a codependent relationship, meaning that two people are dependent on each other, but in an unhealthy way. So the child ends up doing everything that that parent wants, pleasing the parent just to get that parent's acceptance and approval. And the parent ends up also expecting the child to play the caretaker role, like you must take care of me. So when the child takes on that role and doesn't allow the parent to take responsibility for themselves, that's already a toxic dynamic. Even though it might look like love, like, oh, wow, you really look at your parents when they're drunk. But like ultimately it doesn't allow the other person to grow. It doesn't allow them to heal. It doesn't allow them to let go of their unhealthy habits. It just makes them like indulge in the same negative habits. And as a result, like nothing healthy comes out of that relationship. So instead of being codependent on one another, what we are actually looking for are interdependent relationships. So interdependent relationships is when I depend on you in a healthy way and you depend on me in a healthy way. I don't depend on you for things that I shouldn't depend on you. And you don't depend on me for things that you shouldn't depend on me. So those are the relationships we're looking for, but they cannot happen until we learn to have the proper relationships with ourselves first. So the reason why a lot of marriages, a lot of relationships are chaotic and a mess, it's because all of those inner wounds are festering. They're not addressed. There's a pattern of those wounds showing up every time. Like when people mistreat you and you don't actually realize that, wait a minute, what makes this person okay with treating me this way? What have I put out there that made them think that it's okay for them to treat me that way? So what we do is take the easy route, which is like saying, oh, this person did this to me. Yo, this person did this to me. And we just wait for that person to change. But we need to understand that when it comes to life, everything is so and rip, so and cause and effect. Well, it's called the law of cause and effect. So it's whatever you do has an effect. So if someone is mistreating you, yes, they might generally not be a nice person, um, or good person, but also people can tame themselves. Even if someone is not a good person, there's a reason why they felt like it was okay for them to dish out their garbage to you. So why didn't they control themselves around you? There's a weakness that they saw in you that made them feel like it's okay for them to dish out that rubbish to you. So that's what we have to take accountability for, to realize that for every treatment that I get from people, it's because I'm also playing a part. So of course they might not change, which is none of your business. But what is our business is to make sure that whatever dynamic I am allowing, I take responsibility for it. So in the case of codependency, we have a lot of people that are really struggling with the lighting. Hope you guys can still see. Okay. So we have a lot of people that are struggling with parental figures and guardians that expect too much from them, right? Expect too much from them. They do not appreciate, even if you do something for them, they don't appreciate. They keep expecting more and more and more and more, and still treat you like crap, even though you do so much for them. So in that dynamic, you are also like continuing to give, and self-abandoning because of something. So there's a secondary benefit that you are deriving from that dynamic. That secondary benefit that allows you to people please, to neglect yourself in the quest of trying to take care of that person and please them, is that maybe you are looking for validation from them. Maybe you don't have your own self-worth. As a result, you're waiting desperately to get that self-worth and validation from your parental figure, from it could be whoever, from a friend, from a coworker, anyone. So that alone puts you in a position where you're now vulnerable to being manipulated. They might not even know that that's what they're doing, because people's wounds also blind them from realizing what they're doing to other people as well. So but our responsibility is that we need to know what's happening. Like, why am I allowing myself to do this? Why am I allowing myself to be treated this way? What am I getting from behaving in the same way, even though it's hurting me? So, in that case of constantly people pleasing and taking responsibility for things that you shouldn't, when you should actually just say, no, this is your baby. You need to take care of this. Why am I allowing myself to take on all of those roles? If we ask ourselves those questions, that we'll find the truth. We'll find the truth. And often that secondary benefit is our need to get validation externally, which means that helps me to arrive at understanding what my wound is, which is in this case or example, that wound is a disconnection from your truth. So you don't know who you are. You don't know how precious you are. You don't know how much you are lovable already. And as a result, because you are disconnected from that truth, you're looking for it from elsewhere. Looking for it from elsewhere. But what we need to realize is no matter how much you try to please people, no matter how much you try to do stuff for them, it does not guarantee that they are going to give you that validation that you're looking for, that appreciation, that respect that you're looking for. They're not going to do that. Some may give you, but it's going to be breadcrumbs compared to what you can actually give yourself. So what life will do is that it will continue to try to teach you that, hey, do you see that, like, you're looking for something outside, that you're supposed to actually realize that, hey, I can find this within myself. I can find this within my creator. But why am I looking for that sense of worth in other people? Sometimes it's even in material things. So then that hole just gets bigger and bigger with time. The more you do stuff for people and they don't give you, and then it's just a mess, because now the heart is so bitter and you are filled with a lot of disappointment. And when it's like you trying to get that validation or sense of self-worth or esteem from material things, You power yourself with all kinds of material possessions, and no matter how much you get, like, you still feel broken. And that realization comes when we've continuously repeated the same coping mechanism, trying to escape from the real issue. So I try to escape from my emptiness by trying to get more possessions. For other people is flying to another country, escaping to another country and assuming that, okay, when I'm there, I'll finally feel good about myself, I'll finally be happy, I'll be fine and all. For other people, what do people do? Alcohol. Alcohol is another way. Drugs. What else? There's just so many things that people do to escape their truth, and it's so painful because those give you instant gratification, but the pain that comes from waking up again to the reality of the fact that I feel like crap is terrible. It's terrible. So rather than punishing yourself in that way by giving yourself like 2 minutes of pleasure and then like a lifetime of sorrow and the same issues over and over again, wouldn't it be better to actually face my reality that, hey, something in me went wrong? Maybe when I was young, I had the wrong core beliefs. So core beliefs are usually at the root of a lot of negative patterns that we have repeating in our lives. These are planted through maybe how people treated us. So, for instance, if you had a very avoidant parent, a parent that was not emotionally available, a parent that neglected you, even your physical needs, a core belief that I can have as a child that will develop is the belief that I'm not worthy of love, I'm not lovable. And as a result, you start that pattern of settling for less. So you expect so much unpleasant treatment from other people, because you believe that you're not worthy. So even when someone gives you breadcrumbs, you accept it. And if someone mistreats you, you accept it because deep down, your soul believes that that's what you are worth. So people will continue to mirror that belief to you. When people mirror the same belief to you over and over again, that this is actually what you think of yourself. And it can be exhausting if you try to change people. It's actually the wrong formula. You don't need to do that. What you can do though is to correct that core belief, right? And we correct it by finding the truth. The moment I know the truth about who I am, how precious I am, that I am God's highest form of creation and I am dearly loved. I'm here because I'm a product of love. Already, you're not going to be chasing after something that you already have. Like, you are already loved. So why do you have to constantly like chase for something that you already have? So you have it. It's just that you are not aligned with that truth. So the most important thing is now learning to engrave that truth in your heart and emptying out all of those core beliefs, all of those negative thoughts that were causing you to act in unacceptable ways, causing other people to treat you in unacceptable ways. So it's really that simple. I mean, people explain this whole concept in all kinds of ways, right? Um, Massive books just to explain what I explained in this video, which is less than 30 minutes. But ultimately, this is the struggle that humanity is facing. People are crying out for love, waiting for someone to save them. But what they don't realize is that actually we are just looking for the truth. Once we find the truth, once we connect with the truth, then we are able to find the peace that we are looking for. You won't find it in possessions. You won't find it in another relationship or a friendship or going to another country. You will not find it in all of that. You will find it in learning to accept the truth, right? Not being disillusioned, not being like not being delusional, sorry, and not being someone of face value. When you just scrap things on the surface, like you scrap things on the surface, but you don't actually allow yourself to look at the real issue. So we can portray that image of, okay, I'm okay, but that's just gonna kill us. So the best thing is to just sit in your truth. And initially, when you start accepting that truth, it's gonna feel very uncomfortable. It's not gonna be easy. It's going to even feel fake. But a very good example I love is that, hey, when you're playing a piano and you used to just playing one key, that might be something that feels familiar to you, like, yeah, this is the real me. But actually, all the other keys are also part of the piano. It's just that you might not have learned how to use those keys. But the moment you start to learn to use those keys, initially it'll be like, ugh, okay, you will make melodies that don't make sense here and there, but ultimately, if I keep practicing to use all those keys, that'll become me. So that is the variety that we are looking for. That is the beauty that we are looking for. We are looking for connecting to ourselves. And oftentimes we think that if we run away from our problems, that's how we're going to connect to ourselves. If I find someone, that's how I'm going to connect to myself. But no, it doesn't. People can help you to see the patterns that you have not accepted. Definitely, I agree with that. But ultimately, the solutions does not lie in other people. It does not lie in flying to Thailand or where do people go? Paris. The solution isn't just us accepting that, hey, there's a lot of things that I took into my subconscious when I was young that are not true, and they are running my life. So I need to find time to understand what are the core beliefs that have been running my life, and I need to now uproot them completely and replace all of those negative things with the truth. If I start to operate in the truth, then naturally and automatically I'm going to start operating in a very different vibration. I am going to attract a different reality that aligns with the truth that I'm now in harmony with. So it's such a beautiful concept. I believe that it's so beautiful because life mirrors to us the state of our inner being. So if you are in harmony with yourself, if you are healed, then you're also going to attract very healthy interactions with other people. You're going to attract a lot of good things. But everything that we're running away from, life is going to like expose it through the experiences that we go through. So the easiest way to stop all of those negative experiences, sit down with yourself, pray, look for the truth, accept that truth, and start practicing acting on that truth. With time, it will come naturally, like you acting on it. But initially, it won't be easy, but it can be done. Yeah. So I really hope this video was very helpful. Um, myself, I really benefited so much from realizing that, oh my word, like I have the power to literally get anything and everything I want by just changing my frequency and changing my patterns. So every time I see something I don't like, I'm always looking inwardly and asking myself, wait, what is it about me that has allowed this to happen? And then once I fix that, then I'm able to attract a different reality. So hope that can also be a lot of inspiration to you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think. Are there any patterns that you've been experiencing in your own life that made you realize that, oh my word, there's stuff that I still need to face, there's stuff that I need to deal with. And the thing is, usually all of those lessons start to come up when we're older. But yeah, when we don't face those things, even those things will follow you. So the best way to actually secure your happiness is to find the truth, accept the truth, and align yourself with it. Hope this video was extremely helpful. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet, leave a comment and share with your loved ones. I'll see you.